Hello, today I'm going to talk about baseball and how physics affects baseball and basically determining the differences between a wooden bat and a metal bat. I attended this lecture and I found it to be the one that I particularly like just because I am a baseball fan. I really like the Yankees, as seen from these next pictures. So basically, the issues that we are having today are just the discrepancies between wooden bats and the metal bats, which are both being used in today's game. 40 years ago was when the first metal bats were introduced. Before that, it had basically been all wooden bats, and it was soon after these metal bats were introduced that it was seen that they were indeed outperforming the wooden bats. So something had to be done to be able to sort of level the playing field and to see how much of a difference the metal bats really had on the game. So basically, what you want to look at is a performance of a bat and a ball. And so a good definition of performance, and what we will use in this explanation, is the batted ball speed, which is referred to as BBS. And basically, in order to improve your chances of hitting the ball and making it go really far down the field, is to maximize BBS. So the faster the ball comes off the bat, the better your chances are of it going further. So the basic formula is shown here. With Q being the collision efficiency, which this is basically the measure of how efficient the bat is at taking in the pitch and turning it around and basically sending the ball all the way down the field. And of course, this is a good thing because pitch speed and bat speed really only are dependent on the player themselves, and each teams are going to have different players and they're going to have different levels of course, accuracy and pitcher's speed and everything. So the one thing that can be controlled in the BBS is a Q, which is the collision efficiency. So in order to tell between the two different bats, you just have to pretend that the pitch speed and the bat speed will be the same, and then you basically want a larger Q, because when Q is large, BBS will be large. One thing that can be seen from this formula is that bat speed is a lot more important than pitch speed in determining the BBS. And an example of this is shown just by plugging in numbers mathematically, that if you increase the pitch speed by 1 mile per hour, it'll lead to an increase in 1 foot, like the ball will travel 1 foot further. However, if you increase the bat speed by 1 mile per hour, it'll actually increase 6 feet. So that's a huge difference. So that is another interesting thing that can be seen by this formula. So basically, another thing that can be looked at when it comes to this is MOI, which is weight in barrel, and BB core, which is the bounciness. And basically, the BB core, which the bounciness, has to do with how the surface of the bat behaves when the ball hits it. So we know that a wood bat is basically like a solid barrel, and it behaves like a rigid surface. But a aluminum bat is hollow, so that means that it can be thought of more as like a flexible wall, that when the ball hits it, it doesn't take in as much energy as the wooden bat does. So basically, because the metal bat doesn't take as much energy for the ball to compress into it. So the more flexible the wall, the less the ball compresses, and therefore the less energy lost in the collision. This is called the trampoline effect. So basically, it's just the BB core is just a measure of that effect. And a wood bat has basically no trampoline effect because it is such a rigid surface, while a hollow bat does have a larger BB core, which leads to a larger Q, which then, of course, assuming that the pitch speed and the bat speed is the same, will lead to a larger BBS. For any given weight, another thing we can look at is the weight in the barrel, and for any given weight, the MOI is largest when larger fraction of the weight is, of course, concentrated in the barrel itself, which is the top part of the bat. So a larger MOI means a larger Q, and so basically that's where the wooden bats and the metal bats can be both used, even though the metal bats have a very definite advantage with the BB core, but the wooden bats have a definite advantage with the MOI because metal bats are hollow, so they really do not have that much weight in the barrel. So that's why the formula is used to kind of level it off, just to make sure that they have an overall total similar BBS. And so basically all this is just really interesting because it kind of lets you see how, this is more physics 1 stuff, but it lets you see how stuff that you learn in the classroom can really be applied to other things that are just recreational, just such as baseball and stuff. And the various organizations use this very formula to in different ways, just so they can regulate and, like I said, level the playing field so that everyone does have a chance of being the best, and then it's mostly just about the players themselves rather than the bats being used. But so in conclusion, this is just really interesting, and it is something that I would be interested in researching further. And go Yankees! Thank you.